Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I told you a long time ago that maybe 3 or 4 years ago, somebody told me that XRP was created to prevent World War III. And so when I saw this from Tucker Carlson, look, we're in the middle right now. It really feels like they're trying to put the squeeze on people that are telling the truth, and I'll show you more of that in a minute. But it just feels like we're getting close to whatever it is has been planned for a long time, and the closer we get, it feels like they're trying to silence people that have been calling it and telling the truth on this stuff. And to see this headline coming from Tucker Carlson kind of hit me between the eyes. But if we are getting closer, what we know is that gold will be involved. So Miles Franklin Precious Metals is my sponsor. Code DAI Gold. You can send them an email or you can call them. That's to get the best prices. Now, one thing we're not allowed to talk about is glitches with XRP. This can get you in trouble with the crypto police, crypto Gestapo, whatever you like to call them. In fact, the video of the glitch is glitching itself. But it looks like the glitch was showing a $9,861.07 XRP, and then it was going back and forth between that and the current price. I saw it earlier. But Amelia, be careful out there. You're not allowed to show stuff like this. 30-year fixed mortgage rate rises to 8% for the first time in 23 years. This can't be good. I'm waiting for that real estate collapse. It's the final shoe to drop in this economy as far as I'm concerned. Our old buddy Gary was talking yesterday. Gary, I don't trust this guy as far as I can throw him, and who would? But he sure does seem kind of like he's softening on this whole Bitcoin ETF thing. But I think this is all planned, folks.
In addition to receiving that letter last week, something else that happened last week, or rather didn't happen, was the SEC acting to appeal a court ruling from August in the Grayscale case. Grayscale, of course, trying to convert GBTC into a spot ETF. I know you can't comment on ongoing litigation, but should we still be considering that ongoing litigation given that lack of appeal at this point? And if not, what happens next?
Wait, didn't you just say that you knew I wasn't going to comment on the litigation? But let me just say...
But is it still ongoing since you didn't appeal?
We didn't appeal last Friday. I think that's accurate.
So you could still in the future in another form.
But what we have in front of us, just so that the viewing public understands, we have not one, but multiple, I think it's 8 or 10 filings that the staff and ultimately the commission is considering for what's called exchange traded products, for Bitcoin to be in a security. So the Bitcoin would be held, and then there'd be something called an exchange traded product, and that would trade on various stock exchanges. And those filings are in front of us. I can't prejudge any one of them, but there's 8 or 10 that we're looking at.
Well, there is a large number, and there is kind of a narrative in this market, and I wonder if you could put it to rest, that someone's going to get to go first. Is that likely to happen, or is it likely?
Well, I think somebody would have to go first.
A group approval, if you're going to have one, a bunch of products could be approved at the same time.
Again, I'm not going to prejudge. The staff's doing work on those multiple filings.
Can you imagine having an SEC chairman who doesn't sit there and have to stutter around what he's saying because they're just telling it like it is and being honest? I can't.
It's also about those companies are issuers. See, when a company is actually, or an asset manager is seeking to take something public, these exchange traded products need to register with the SEC, and they go through a filing somewhat similar to going public, like an IPO. And so it's really the work of our division of corporation finance that gives feedback. Our division of trading and markets, of course, looks at the filings of the exchanges.
Well, and we know the issuers have had interaction with the staff, questions the staff has asked that issuers have tried to address. Do you have a sense at all of whether or not the attempts to address those questions and issues have been productive, fruitful, changed anything?
Again, this is a time-tested process that goes back decades. It's like the staff of the SEC it's called the Disclosure Review Team. Mm-hmm. But in that group, they respond and give feedback to potential issuers. But I don't have any details on those individual conversations.
All right, Chair Gensler, thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, if you're in the mood to just vomit all over your computer this morning, watch a little bit of this.
Happy birthday to Rob Gensler. He should have told his twin brother to take the day off.
Before I go to Commissioner Crenshaw, I want to say that my twin brother is happily going to the beach today, but he's happy for me also because he knows I love the job. And so he would say, keep at it, Gary, and do what you want to do on your birthday.
Happy birthday to you and your twin. I will not ask which one came out first, but both of you, I definitely have made your marks in the profession.
My baby brother is doing fine today.
Thank you, Chair Gensler, and best wishes to you on your birthday and your brother's birthday.
Man, let me tell you what. I think karma's real. Karma's, it can't be coming in a good way for Gary Gensler, I'll tell you that. What a piece of you-know-what. All right, Brad Garlinghouse, he's going to do a Meta Talks. Metaco that's the custody company that Ripple bought. And apparently they must do some kind of podcast or something. And Brad's going to be on it. Is that today? Yeah, it is today. All right. So Brad's going to be on that. That'll be interesting. Coinbase put this out yesterday. Perpetual futures have arrived. Coinbase advanced customers in the eligible non-U.S. geographies can now trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and XRP perpetual contracts. I will not be doing that. Then we've got this. Just in, Elon Musk and Mark Cuban filed joint amicus brief at the Supreme Court calling for an overhaul of the SEC's proceedings. Let me see, was that all that was? An overhaul of so they've jointly filed an amicus brief. Now listen up, folks. You people in the XRP community, do you realize that these two billionaires are doing this specifically because of the fight that was put up by John Deaton and the XRP community? Do you realize that there wasn't anybody fighting the SEC before the XRP community came along? We literally altered the course of how people view a government gone wild that's not protecting the people and is instead has political agendas. Nobody would fight them before. We fought and in my opinion, helped Ripple win. Now, here's John. This is another clip from John Deaton with these two. I think Scott Melker's an attorney. Let me see. Does it say? It doesn't say, but he's somebody. But anyway, watch this.
It's a town full of revolving doors. And the revolving door between DC and Wall Street spins so fast it could generate its own electricity. And I think case in point is our chair, Chair Gary Gensler at the SEC. We know he made millions on Wall Street before he took over the helm. Where is he likely to go after the fact? And then you think too, who do the leadership at the SEC, people like Gary Gensler, who do they rub shoulders with every day? Is it the grandma who just bought her first Bitcoin? Is it the teenager who just downloaded Coinbase for the first time? Or is it their buddies back on Wall Street? I think there's real regulatory capture at the SEC that has gone overlooked for too long. And I think that regulatory capture has been laid bare by cryptocurrency as a movement. I think people are starting to recognize, wait a second, with the SEC trying to do everything it can to stop a Bitcoin ETF or to attack Coinbase, to attack the XRP army, it's not really looking out for the interests of retail investors at the end of the day. And so that's why, in my view,
retail investors are the victims. He's not helping them.
I wonder if something like FTX happened, because I don't think at the end of the day, SEC all the time has the interests of retail investors in mind.
Also, if we're being honest, there's been a revolving door of late between Washington and the crypto industry, right? A lot of the commissioners from the CFTC, Brian Brooks went to work in crypto. Jake Clayton has a huge role in crypto. So that's not unique to Wall Street, but Wall Street's doing it on 100 times larger scale and for 100 times longer than crypto has probably existed. All of that said, it's very clear that the SEC's intentional view is to keep everything as vague as possible so that they can regulate by enforcement.
There you go. Then we got this. Elizabeth Warren sent a letter to the White House claiming crypto is a national security threat being used to fund terrorism. John Deaton says crypto law founder John Deaton plans to send a letter to the White House claiming Elizabeth Warren is a national security threat to the sovereignty of the United States and the financial freedom of the people. Now, if there ever was a guy who just put a video together telling me that I can't trust him and that he must be a part of the corruption, this guy just did.
Let me just basically say how impressed I am with Ethereum, full stop, period. And that when I think about this as a regulator, I think of it almost analogized to email versus the internet. If Bitcoin is email, a one-trick pony, so to speak, but obviously revolutionary, Ethereum goes far beyond that. It's more like the internet.
I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him after seeing that. Now, folks, if you want an illustration of why I formed my private group, here it is. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody out there. It is the ultimate insurance policy, and I'm so excited that I did it, plus the things that are going on in there. Like today, so Stephen Nerioff, the Ethereum whistleblower, pops his head back up, and I'm going to show you some of that stuff, but bigger than that. We're gonna show you this person has done a lot of research and found out the ties between JP Morgan, like the real ties between JP Morgan and that island guy whose name we can't talk about until I go into the private group. Yeah, and it's like really, really deep. Wait till you see this. But here, Black Swan Capital says, unbelievable. I covered a report on BlackRock and JP Morgan increasing their position in XRP. It was removed minutes after gaining traction. This is exactly what I've been warning about. Institutions will always lie to the masses and keep them distracted with Bitcoin. And then there's this. Sounds like Black Mirror episode, but it's real life. A petty group of European bureaucrats is deciding what the whole world would be able to say and hear on social media platforms. Get a good look at these people. They are the enemies of free speech. Folks, this is an active thing going on. The best thing I ever did, literally, ironically, maybe the best thing that ever happened was for me to get turned off on X so that I could go and get some traction with this thing before these guys cut us all off. I mean, who knows where, if they're really trying to create CBDCs to try to control us all, then they will use it to control us on social media too. So anyway, well, I'm heading off. And by the way, if you want to come into the private group, boy, you're going to miss one today if you're not in there. I intentionally made this thing extremely inexpensive. It's only $6. And you can go to daixrp.com to come in there. So here we go. Watch this. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that it's like we're living through an episode of Black Mirror in this world. Some creepy stuff going on, and there's a lot of bad guys. Thanks for listening.